We're out at the Himalayas. There's a ladies' medal going on, and the excitement is palpable.
Just watching some of that stuff, like, I'm very happy that Randy and I made up an excuse to go see more of the town of St. Andrews.
The worst part was I played really, really well at the previous day at the old course, and like one of the best rounds I've had this year. And then, so I had really high hopes going into it, and of course, just struggled and got our dicks knocked in.
Well, we were happy to see more of the town of St. Andrews. One thing that's really cool is just the fact that St. Andrews is as accessible as it is. So one of our first questions, we had a chance to sit down with some people from the Links Trust, and one of our first questions was just like, how does this place stay public?
It's a St. Andrews thing, but I think it's also an inherently Scottish thing that, you know, that sort of freedom to roam, and, you know, the way links courses were born were just rough patches of ground next to towns on the coastal areas of Scotland. And they've just always become, you know, I mean, it's what happens here in St. Andrews, you'll see if you go elsewhere in Scotland, in terms of the courses that are on the coast are an intrinsic part of the places they're at, and they're part of the community, they're part of the residents, you know, experience. You know, if you live in North Berwick, you want to play that golf course. You live in St. Andrews, you want to play that golf course. And I think it's just part of our DNA and our relationship with golf that we want to make it accessible, affordable, and give all people the opportunity to come and play.
The old course is the coolest thing about St. Andrews. The town of St. Andrews is the next coolest thing. Listen, the kid loves seeing college towns, as we'll get to. As does Randy. So sleeping in and just seeing the town of St. Andrews that's about as much of a thrill as you could possibly have.
So St. Andrews is a town, I think we're really fortunate that you have a huge university that's just grown and grown over the years. So it's kind of seasonal. In the summer, all the golfers come in. In the winter, all the students are here. And that's had a knock-on effect that for a town of its size, because we've got a really small resident population, it's got a great offering in terms of restaurants, pubs, things to do and see. You know, you've got all the history away from the golf courses as well, the cathedral, St. Sal's, University. It's a real picturesque, beautiful place.
How long did y'all sleep in till? I think Soly and I were up at 6:15.
Oh gosh, yeah, we slept in like 8:30. Had a coffee. Honestly, like, I don't want to rub it in, but it was a delightful day. So one of the coolest things that you can see from the old course is the Himalayas putting green, the Himalayas as the locals like to call it. And it's this putting green that old Tom Morris built for the ladies putting club back in the 1840s, 1850s, I think. And it turned out it was all these wives of the RNA members who basically were like, hey, we can, you know, we like to putt. We don't really like to play golf.
We like to do stuff too.
So like, they're like, cool, why don't you guys have this putting green and you guys go have matches out there. So they have all these different competitions out there now and all these different medals, trophies, everything they play for.
Comps.
And as someone who like struggles to hit a driver on the planet consistently, the idea of like a one-on-one putting match is just mind-blowing. That's as appealing as it gets to me. And that we were like, no joke, Randy and I probably sat here for 2 hours watching the ladies putting club.
It's incredible. It's awesome.
They have absolutely closed off the waiting list to get into this club. I think someone has to die before they let a new club member in. They've got an edge to them, and they're all like really chippy. It looks like the most fun you could possibly have.
The most fun I've ever seen in my entire life.
Just these like completely like no stakes, but also kind of all the stakes. Like you could tell it means a ton to all these ladies, and you can see in the pictures here, like this putting green is bananas. Like it's so hard to lag it close, and they're so good. From like 40 feet, you put them to any hole, and the cups change every day, so it's not like you learn every putt or whatever. They change every day, and they're so good at knocking it to stone dead every time, and then they all have the yips within like, they can't make a putt within like 2.5, 3 feet.
I'm only laughing because I can't hit the hole from like 4 feet either.
They're going extra holes. They're going extra holes. gutted. The advisor lady was putting on a really good charge, hitting really aggressive putts. I just caught up with her a bit at the last there. She kind of left herself a tough downhiller. But she made it pretty far in the bracket, and now she goes to enjoy a bit of time on the yellow course.
I think there was quite a crowd there too.
For sure. Well, I mean, yeah, I think, well, actually a lot of those people are public that got turned away. Our man Kevin sets the course. He just took the job recently in the last couple months. I felt bad for him as he's got to turn away all these people who are just, they're chipper and they're rolling up with their putters and, I'm sorry, the course is closed just now. And he's got to explain that basically this, this piece of land is owned by the ladies putting club. And then they basically let the public use it at no cost. And then so whenever they feel like closing it down for their competitions, they're well within their right to do so. And that's what happens 3 days a week.
Today the ladies want to come on camera?
They did not want to come on camera. It is a very proper club, and I think there's a hierarchy of things. Basically, the club secretary is allowed to speak for the club, and I don't believe anyone else is. And I suppose when you're not accepting new members, you kind of don't want to ruffle any feathers, get yourself kicked out. And one thing that was really weird, I don't get why they do this, is that the ladies have numbered flags, so they know what hole is which. And Kevin goes and he has to switch out all the numbered flags for unnumbered flags, so the public has no clue what's going on. And the whole thing, it's a beautiful disaster. I can't get enough. I think we should start a putting club when we get back to Jacksonville.
For sure. Would join.
Ladies only, and me and Randy. Let's go. So tell me what I missed. Tell me about Crail.
Well, Poosh joined us. We got out to Crail. It was kind of a gloomy, gray morning.
Tell me about the secretary, because I saw a lot of this dude in all the footage.
Yeah, he was a menace. He knew basically anything about everything, or everything about
everything.
Everything.
Scotland was glaciated, and when the glaciers melted and receded, the land virtually sprung up a little bit. So what you're looking at on Balcomie is a sand beach which is higher than the sea level.
Okay.
It's the longest continuously inhabited piece of ground in Scotland. They found Mesolithic artifacts from 6,000 to 9,000 years BC.
He was on another level.
He seems like the kind of guy you'd want to have at like every cocktail party.
Yeah.
Because it was such a narrow strip of land and it was common ground, there was a great deal of tension between the golfers and the other people that used the ground. A farmer paid a young boy to drive cattle at a gallop up and down the golf course to ruin it for the golfers.
He was like the Scottish, middle-aged version of Panther Mike.
Oh gosh, that's the highest honor. Shout out Panther.
Not only did he give us a history of this course, he gave us history of their other course designed by Gil Hance. It was his first solo design. He gave us a history of golf in Scotland, of the glaciation and the geological history.
The place was mad glaciated.
Of eastern Scotland. The whole thing was just, Viking history. It was more than I had bargained for. I don't even think I had a cup of coffee before I showed up.
You didn't probably need one.
No.
So Crail wasn't the first club to invent hole cups, but we're the first club to officially record the use of them. So it's in our minutes from 1874. Alan Robertson was the world's first golf professional. He was the first guy ever to make a living from playing golf. It's a 12th is a very difficult green to putt. Well, that's because there's a Viking defensive structure runs through the middle of that green.
Actually, all this was after we played. This was after we thoroughly got punched in the face. Right? It's not a very long or to the eye, it's not a very challenging course, and then I thought it was 10 times harder than most of the other courses we played on the trip.
Well, while you guys were getting this history lesson, I mean, we were doing a little exploring of our own. Randy and I are huge into seeing college campuses. This is probably, I think, our 5th or 6th of 2018, and the big guy just, what a thrill to see him
this was the best.
What a thrill to see him roaming around academia. He loves it.
It's like some Harry Potter shit.
Well, I'm big on seeing campuses. I love seeing college campuses, and this campus feels like it couldn't be any more college. It's just the most college.
What do you think?
It's magnificent turf. Look at this quad. This is a proper quad. You could huck D's out here for hours.
God, we might need to pump some photos of Randy in college here.
Yeah, so Randy played college basketball for a couple years at Washington Lee, and then so he was a point guard. He's 6'8". He was a point guard, and his coach got fired after his sophomore year, or after his freshman year. And the new guy wanted him to bang down low.
It's not his style.
And Randy said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna quit.
It's gonna be a no for me,
Transfer
dog.
to Miami."
Yeah, this was a sign about someone who got burned at the stake at this spot. It was pretty heavy stuff.
You better be careful expressing some of your views around here.
That's heavy.
I think Randy took more photographs and videos in cemeteries than he did on golf courses.
Yeah, he's like, shout out to Randy, but he's not always quick on the trigger with, filming on the course. But he shot like 15 cemeteries while we were in Scotland.
Very morbid.
He loves shooting video of cemeteries. And this, of course, he's a huge fan of the royal family, so this was quite a thrill as well for him.
Cruising weather.
Well, you don't see a lot of people getting a convertible on their Scottish vacation. So shout out to BMW for making that happen.
Yeah, and Giraffe Randy.
Yeah, who just was poking his head out. But enough about that. Let's get into the actual golf course.
So Crail, pretty compact property. We just didn't pack our game. So Boathouse is the first hole, and you hit down, and it's like this drivable par 4, and along the right is this boathouse. There's lifeboats in there. Soly drove it to the right side. He had to play over the boathouse. And then, a theme to it. Poosh covers the ball so well.
For sure.
With his sternum.
Poosh has like some old school Ted Ray vibes.
So you go out, the first first 5 holes are along the coast, and then you start coming back in, but they're all right on top of each other.
You guys really struggled here. This is that's a heavy contact on the bunker.
That was OB. Like way OB. There's barbed wire. There's like cows, grazing over there. It's so on top of each other that you're hitting into other groups. You're hitting chili peppers down the other fairway. We saw the Australians that you played with.
Oh, nice.
We were playing up their fairway. They were playing up our fairway.
Nathan and Brendan and the boys.
Yeah. I thought I flagged that one.
Yeah.
Didn't. But it's so, another theme is on a trip like this, all right, obviously we're trying to make everything as authentic as possible, but we played so bad that all right, nobody wants to see us miss that was a shank. Nobody wants to see us miss this many putts. So we started, we're like, all right, we gotta, I think this was like the 4th take of that, and I still couldn't even get it remotely close there. So we started, we're like, all right, we obviously need to start making some putts here. Usually
we're pretty authentic on the scores and stuff, but yeah, we just needed some video of putts going in the holes, and it looked like you guys had a massive struggle trying to make that happen. That's a bad effort.
And yeah, I mean, obviously we weren't playing tilt. Tilt was in, Musselburgh and Crail. We did not play tilt. And Cullen, we didn't play tilt either later in the season. But
were you guys playing a friendly Herman Cain?
We weren't even, I don't even think we were playing anything. I think by the 8th hole, it was like, yo, I need some action, guys. But yeah, I mean, it's, there's groups everywhere, and it's quaint and super old school, and it's kind of rustic golf in a sense, but God,
it looks like you're just hitting into everybody all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tee box to the next hole, right? Short right where all the bad players miss. That's where the wifey scrape lands, Here's Poosh talking a little bit more about that.
There's no tee shot at Crail where you stand on the tee and you don't think you could possibly kill somebody with your tee ball.
Really deep in the process.
Yeah,
we were trying to find the secret in the dirt.
We were deep in our own process, to be totally candid with you. We hit a local farmer's market, picked up some fresh strawberries, and it was delightful.
That was something about Scotland. The produce was
off the charts.
Charts. The fish is really good too. They have.
Listen, you want to talk about the food
right there? Yeah,
people bitch about the food, but the food
was
good.
Kind of the best surprise of the trip. Yeah. I mean, obviously you got meat and potatoes, but they've got plenty of good fish. They've got a ton of good veggies. Yeah, so we eventually kind of started golfing our ball. The par 3s, for whatever reason, I had 5 iron in all the par 3s, and I played exceptionally well on those. This was kind of, I think, 10 or 11.
You don't see a lot of balls stopping and spinning in Scotland. That's a little concerning.
Soly was hitting stingers all day. Shout out Pete Dye.
Was this an original Pete Dye?
This is like the 1850s version of Pete Dye. Lang Wang here.
For sure.
Par 5. My only birdie of the day.
I've watched this putt like 25 times, and I'm pretty sure it goes in, right? Like it's definitely in. It's definitely
tracking.
in. Definitely in.
Even
definitely.
right there.
Oh, that's brutal. Did you fix that?
I went back and fixed that.
I hope so.
After I holed out, I felt terrible.
That's disgusting.
It was so firm.
That's true. It probably didn't matter.
So Poosh for a big man.
Yeah.
Like extremely flexible.
For sure.
Extremely like.
I think he's kind of a yogi. Pat.
So you go down this path and you go back to the last 4 holes of the course, and you think it's kind of going to run out of gas, but actually those last 4 holes were just as good. Those are behind the clubhouse. The clubhouse sits up, great view over those 4 holes, and then the rest of the course on the other side. You know, there's this Robert Louis Stevenson lighthouse that it was the original like lighthouse upon which all other lighthouses henceforth were modeled after.
The big guy loves infrastructure.
I do.
Guilty.
Yeah. Obviously, we want to remain objective about courses, but to a certain extent, that's just impossible. It was gloomy and gray when we started playing. Right when we were leaving, the light came out. We threw the drone up, and it just started popping. And it was night and day versus what we had teed off in. And I wish we had another crack at Crail because we could really go back. And I think a lot of the features that we didn't even see because they just looked flat and flat light popped. So that really set the tone for the afternoon. The most spiritual experience of my life. Yeah.
We'll see that next week.
Excuse me. Trying to get to Ely.
How's it look?
Magnificent.
How do you feel?
Not right now, guys. Thanks.
The integrity of golf is preserved.
Alright, we're checking out this Indian food. Good stuff on the way in.
You know it's good. He's been here.
Monty.
Boris John.
Deej, Tron, where are we?
Maisha. Wasn't there a sitcom named
That was Moesha.
Moesha?
So far, so good.
No spoilers.